What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Locked in Sports, bringing you my six best bets for today, Saturday, July 20th, in the NBA Summer League. Towards the end of the NBA Summer League now, sad to say, but we're in the final stretch. Today's games are a series of consolation games for the teams that didn't make the semifinals. And today's games are all the teams with the worst records. A lot of 0-4 and 1-3 records that are playing today, which actually bodes really well for us. Because even those teams that have bad records tend to have one or two good players that I still want to rely on, that I think will do well, especially because a lot of these teams have really bad defenses. And those good players against bad defenses are great matchups for us to take overs. So we're going to see some of those today. Now, don't have any total game points lines to talk about today at the end of the video. Just have our 6-player props. But before I hop into those player props, have to do a recap. Before I hop into the recap, I just want to say thank you all very, very much for the insane support on the channel recently. The growth has been wild, and thank you so much to all the new subscribers that are coming in. Thank you to everyone with notifications on. Thank you to everyone leaving likes. There's been so many more likes than usual. It's really gratifying to see. And thank you to everyone commenting. Especially a massive thank you to everyone commenting and just being positive and supportive even when our picks don't hit, and still riding with us and still kind of just defending the picks in the comments means a lot. So thank you very much. So let's hop into a recap of yesterday. And not going to lie, yesterday was a rough day. It was a 1-6 day overall. We went 0 for 5 on player props and 1-1 on total game points lines. So total game points lines, what hit, what didn't. Well, Suns versus Bucks, that was an easy sweat-free over. Both those teams have terrible defenses, so super high scoring. Sword past 180 and a half. I think it went over 200 points total. What didn't hit, really crushing one, 76ers versus Spurs. We had them for over 176 and a half. It ended at 176 exactly. One more bucket from either team would have cashed it in, but yeah. It's unfortunate, it's heartbreaking, but kind of was the theme of yesterday because a lot of good picks too. A lot of good picks that had data to back them up, but just things went wrong. So what didn't hit for us? Well, Baylor Skyerman, we had him for under 13 and a half. He had 15, went one bucket above this line at the very end of the fourth quarter. Just he was shooting lights out. It was frustrating seeing him play so many minutes and get so many shot attempts when it felt like he wasn't playing any defense. He wasn't doing much else on the court. So don't know why he stayed in so long. Don't know why he got so many shot opportunities. But yeah. Modest Buzelis, we had his over 18 and a half. He only had 11 because he came off the bench. He's the main scorer, the main starter for the Chicago Bulls. He's their main guy all summer league. And he comes off the bench. And granted, he still had a lot of shot opportunities, but he just didn't look good. I don't know if it was because he was in a different offense. He wasn't able to start, play with the guys he normally plays with, but he just was not playing like he usually does. Dwayne Washington, we had him for over 17 and a half points, and he wasn't even shooting bad. He was shooting pretty well, doing good out there. 3 of 4 from 3. Nice spot to be in. Then he gets pulled early. Played fewer minutes than almost any other starter. Fewer minutes than starters who were shooting less efficiently and scoring less than he was. Adam Bono, we had him for over 7 points. He'd been doing it every single game, and he went out there and took one shot. This guy's been consistently taking 4 to 6 shots and hitting 80 to 100% of them. He takes one shot, misses it, never takes another shot. Wild. Absolutely wild. Lastly, Cole Swider. This one was frustrating. He's hit for us before. We took him for under 13 and a half points. Yeah, he'd been going under a lot. He was a bench player who came in, didn't score how the line thought he was going to score. We were doing good taking his under. But then he got moved to the starting rotation and scored 21. Because of course he did, because he got moved up to be a starter. Wild. Just wild day yesterday. Really unfortunate all around. But I always like to say that I can't promise that we'll win every single day, but I can promise that we'll win in the long run. Because that's how stats work. That's how this data works. Is sometimes weird things happen. Sometimes starters get moved to the bench players get moved up to start, and sometimes players who are playing well get pulled early. Sometimes players who aren't playing well stay in the whole game. And it's unfortunate, and it really sucks. I get it, because I bet on these players too. It sucks when weird things happen and we don't hit. But it's going to happen sometimes. We're going to have weird days. Overall, we're always backing our picks in stat. We're always going to win in the long run. So thank you to all of you who are still riding with me here. Thank you to all of you who are still being really supportive in the comments and hyping up the picks, knowing that they are well researched, knowing that a lot of thought goes into them, knowing that they're based in stats and data. And just to clear the air about something that I've been seeing in the comments, yeah, we've had winning days here. I don't know why people are saying that we haven't. We have. We've been hitting pretty good recently. Yeah, we had one bad day yesterday, but other than that, we've been hitting good recently. So let's do it again today. My 6 best bets. All right. That was a rather lengthy intro, but I feel like I had a lot of important stuff to say, so might make the little video a little longer than usual today. But got all that out of the way. Let's hop into the picks. My first pick of the day, picking Ryan Dunn of the Phoenix Suns for under 6.5 points. Yeah, under 6.5. It's really low line, but he's been under it in 3 of 4. And he only went over it when he went up against the Bucks, and the Bucks gave up 115 points, and they allowed Dunn to take 10 shots when he's normally only taking about 6 a game. So a lot more shot opportunities, a lot more points on the board for the Suns. Yeah, of course Dunn was going to go over his line, but generally he goes under. And look, Dunn is the starter with the fewest points and generally has the least or the second least shot attempts on his team. He's not their main option on offense. His line is really low, but he keeps going under it. And you might say, well, this is a matchup between two, not great teams. What if they have a weak defense? What if they give up a lot of points again? Well, Dunn went over this line in games where the Suns scored 100, where they scored in the 90s, where they scored really well, just not the game where they scored 115 against the Bucks. So honestly, Suns aren't going up against the Bucks today. I'm easily locking in Ryan Dunn for under 6.5 points. Next up, we've got familiar name, someone I've bet on before. He's hit for us, and he hasn't. It's Bub Carrington of the Washington Wizards for over 15.5 points. Look, his points line he's hit his points line and PRA line, every single game except the last one where we took him and he just shot irregularly. I think he went 0 from 3 and just like 4 of 17, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a really off night for him. But taking his points because he's playing the Bucks, and the Bucks give up an absurd amount of points. We just talked about that with Ryan Dunn. They let a guy who normally goes under 6.5, take like 10 shots and go over his line. Bub Carrington, who normally goes over 15.5, gets to play against the Bucks, who are going to probably let him score at least 20, 25. Yeah, Carrington's the main source of offense on the Wizards. He's got a lot to prove after a poor shooting game last game. And also, he's still fighting for a roster spot. I'd be surprised if Carrington isn't on the Wizards starting roster, but it'd be a really bad look for him to just flop now, have another terrible game, and kind of get demoted to maybe a third string player on his team instead of a backup or potentially a starter later in the season. Yeah, Carrington has a lot to prove. He's in a good spot. It gets a really weak defense. So I'm easily locking in Bub Carrington for over 15.5 points. Now let's hop over to the other side of the ball, looking at a Bucks player, and I'm taking Tyler Smith for over 10.5 points. Smith is actually a really interesting player, with an interesting story over the summer league that I like a lot because he's over this line in 3 of 4 games, but he came off the bench for 3 games, so he earned his way into the starting roster, which he made it into last game. Played really well off the bench, going over this line in 2 out of those 3 games. Gets promoted to the starting lineup, goes over this line again, and yeah, he's fought for a starting position. He's not going to give it up. This is a game where he has a lot to prove. He started off being underestimated by the Milwaukee Bucks. Now he's shown that he can be a starter in their summer league team. Now it's time for him to go out and show that he can earn a full-time roster spot. Yeah, I think Tyler Smith has a lot to prove, a lot of motivation, and he's consistently going over this line. So I really like Tyler Smith for over 10.5 points. Next up, player that I've talked about a few times before. He's hit for us when we took him. It's Dalton Connect, the Los Angeles Lakers, for over 19.5 points. Come on. It's Connect's final game in the Summer League. How could I not take him here? He's in such a good spot. Same reasoning as always. He's over around this line in every game he's played. He was over it last time. He's the main source of offense on the Lakers. He shoots lights out from beyond the arc, and even in the paint, he's just solid all around. Connect is fun to watch. He's a great player. He's everything for the Lakers. And most importantly, they're playing against the Bulls. Bulls have a pretty lackluster defense. So, yeah. Also, as with a lot of these guys, Connect's fighting to earn a roster spot here. I'd be surprised to see him not make the starting roster, but still, he's a young guy. He's going into the Lakers team with a lot of veteran presence, a lot of really solid players there. He's going to have to fight for a spot, especially if he wants to look good in the coach's eyes. If he wants to get some playing time early on, he needs to show up and show out here. So, yeah, I don't think there's any way Dalton Connect does anything else than go over 19 and a half points. Enough with the familiar names on the channel, guys we've bet on before. Let's talk about someone new, someone who I really like. It's Trey Alexander of the Denver Nuggets for over 17 and a half points. Look, he's been over in his previous three and over in 3 of 4 total for the Summer League. The first game he played where he didn't hit, well, he was coming off the bench. Yeah, started as a bench player and earned his way into the starting lineup. That bench game, he had 12 points, still shot really well, pretty efficiently. Made his way into the starting lineup, has been consistently going over 17 and a half, being one of their main options on offense. He got promoted to starter. He's hit this line every time. And importantly, to me at least, the Nuggets have a player, Julian Strawther, who's really good. We've been on him before. He scores really well, and he tends to suck away points from other players on the team just because he's scoring so much. But not Trey Alexander. Trey Alexander went over this line even when Julian Strawther was playing. And when Julian Strawther went out and stopped playing, coaches didn't put him in. Trey Alexander still went over his line. So he's consistently going over his line. I don't know if Strawther is going to play tonight or not, but Trey Alexander, I trust to go over 17 and a half points, regardless of who else is playing. So let's lock it in. For my sixth and final pick, the final pick for today's batch of consolation games, kind of a loser's bracket of the Summer League, I'm looking at A.J. Lawson of the Dallas Mavericks to go over 18 and a half points. Well, Lawson has been hitting this line better recently. He's over in 2 of 2. But importantly, he's over in his most recent 2, under in his first 2. So he's showing improvement. He's showing that he went from not taking enough shots and not swinging efficiently enough to hit this line to being able to hit it. And most importantly, I think, is that the Thunder, the team that the Mavericks are playing, are weakest at guarding the guard position. Every single game they've been playing, they've been giving up a lot of points to guards. They've been letting guards go out there and drop 20 plus on them, drop 23, 25 on them. So yeah, I think the Thunder definitely give up a lot of points to Lawson, who is either the main or second scorer on his team every game and is the main guard on his team. He's the main guard on a team going up against a team that can't guard guards. Yeah, what more is there to say? Lawson can beat this line against most teams. He can definitely beat it against the Thunder, who are going to have a really hard time guarding him. So, locking in A.J. Lawson for over 18 and a half points. All right, those are my 6 best bets for today, Saturday, July 20th, in the NBA Summer League. Bit of a longer video than usual. Just had a lot to say about all these players. But no total points lines to talk about today. That's all I have for you. Just want to say again, thank you all very much for the support on the channel. It has been wild. I know we had a rough day yesterday, so it means a lot. Still seeing a lot of support in the comments. Seeing a lot of people still being positive and optimistic about the picks. So thank you all very much for, seeing how much work goes into this, seeing how much data and research, and yeah, thank you. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get notified when new videos drop. Sooner you're able to watch a video, the better lines you're going to get. So yeah, leave a like if you like the video, comment your own picks and parlays down below, and also comment if you think I got things wrong. If you think that my picks are off for one reason or another, let me know. Only makes me a better. And as always, I'm not forcing you guys to take these picks. If you have issues with some of them, don't take them. I love seeing that you guys pivot picks to take PRA lines when I take points lines, and you still end up hitting with those, even if I don't. So yeah, use your best judgment, use your discretion. Love seeing you guys, and love seeing what picks you take in the comments down below. If you guys are interested in the WNBA, All-Star Game is today. Released a video with some All-Star Game points picks, or not points picks, player props. That's going to be on screen right here, somewhere around here. I always forget which side it's on. But that video is live right now, talking about the WNBA All-Star Game. And if you're not someone who generally watches the WNBA, this would be a really great game to start with. I encourage you to watch it. It's going to be a really fun one. A lot of grudge matches going on, so check it out. But that's all I got for you today. As always, thank you all very, very much for all the support on the channel. It's crazy. I know I said a lot, but it means a lot. So have a good one, and let's make some money. Yeah.